What's going on, everybody? Zarek, Underdogs of Addiction. Today, I have a message on my heart, and I just want to talk to you guys about how the combination of alcohol and cocaine nearly took my life multiple times. Um, so, let's talk about the reasons why I would drink and use alcohol. Um, as a kid, some of my first memories were seeing my father drunk, punching holes in the wall, threatening my mother, fighting people, uh, cops in and out of the house, pinning my dad, arresting him, seeing my dad pull out his guns. There was not a lot of emotional connection with me and my father. There was no intimacy, and that's because that was passed down to him. His dad was an addict too. Ironically, they were both successful musicians. So I seen a lot of that for the first 10 years of my life. So that trauma of the violence and the lack of love from my father um, scarred me. And I feel like those are some of the roots of my addiction. Fast forward to my mid 20s, I lost so many people. I lost my grandmother, both my uncles, both of my aunts overdosed. One from fentanyl, one died of actually cirrhosis, so long-term use. Multiple friends of mine died, and the nail in the coffin was when my special needs uncle Brian, who was 40 years old, passed away. He was autistic and had schizophrenia, and he was like my big brother. I have a big brother too, but he lived with us many times. He had a heart transplant when he was 18. The dude's really been through it all, and he passed away a couple years ago, and I had a premonition about him passing away, and it was crazy. And I woke from a dream, and in the dream he said, I need you," and I woke up to my mom literally calling me, telling me that he died. And that one really fucked me up. And a couple years prior to that, my twin sister, her son passed away, and he was going to be the first male in our family out of all the kids, and that one was really hard to get over. Um, so the accumulation of all childhood trauma, as well as the deaths in my family, that got the ball rolling in my mid to late 20s with cocaine and alcohol. First was alcohol. What led me on my run the last year and a half before I went into treatment, September 12th of 2022, was I was in back-to-back relationships. The first girl I was with was like 2019 to 2020. She was a former heroin addict, very functional. Um, I had met her when we were young. I was like 22 and she was 17. She moved away and came back when I was in my late 20s, and she was in her like mid to early 20s. And we started hanging out. And of course, I have no framework for healthy relationships. All my relationships were not healthy. I've got work on that the last year and a half. So I'm no longer in those kind of relationships, but they were always very codependent. A lot of us in addiction, you guys know what I'm talking about. And we will always kind of choose somebody that's going to be dysfunctional with us. And that relationship pretty much was based on cocaine, you know. The whole time we were together, that's all she ever wanted. And I was doing it maybe a couple times a week, but she wanted to do it all the time. Um, she was more of an avoidant type. I was more anxious, and she was using me. And she didn't support me. She would make fun of me because I told her I wanted to get clean, and I knew I needed to get out of the relationship. And she actually finally screwed me over and left me and went for some other guy at work and is using him probably still to this day. And I met another girl at a party while I was getting over this other girl. And ironically, I jumped into it with this girl, not knowing what the hell I was setting myself up for. Long story short, she was a former meth addict. She's a single mother. She smoked weed every day. I had borderline personality disorder. And she clung to me right away, and she made me feel all these good feelings like a drug. But soon enough, she started splitting on me, and I became the bad guy. I stopped doing music. I stopped training MMA because I was so consumed in this relationship. I'm not blaming it all on her. It was also my fault too, my lack of discipline. And I slowly started losing everything. And I didn't really want to be with her, and I was just stuck in that relationship, so I broke up with her. Um, I still wanted to be friends because I loved her emotionally. She ended up leaving for some other guy, um, and completely just shitting on me and just calling me the worst things you can imagine. And I definitely fired back some things too because I was hurt. But I tried to actually get back with her, and she started lying to me, and uh, she ended up getting pregnant by some dude like 15 years older than me, and this guy wanted to marry her, and she found another person to use. And I had to look deep into myself, like, Zarek, why are you getting with these people and that you know are gonna fuck you up? And it's because I got emotionally, my relationships were fucked up as a child. So this is what led to my last run of cocaine and alcohol use. All those things, I just said fuck it. I met somebody, I decided to start fucking hustling, selling coke. I got heavily into that for about 7 months. No longer am affiliated or do anything related to that, but I'm just sharing this as my story, my testimony. And the ball was off. I was off for the races. I was just like, you know what, fuck my life. I don't care if I live or die anymore. And I had really good stuff. And it just started out with me I'd come home after a binge at a bar with my friends. Sometimes the friends would come with me, some not, and I would just stay up and I would just hit line. They're lying, and I'd stay up sometimes 24 hours, 48 hours. I was ordering fucking alcohol and DoorDash, people coming at 6 a.m. and usually sometimes other addicts too, who were delivering that shit. And I just remember those feelings of just sitting in my apartment, listening to like fucking Deftones, dark music, and just being like completely immersing myself in hell, and just being like, fuck it, this is my life, this is how I'm gonna fucking die. And I had numerous times where I should have went to the ER, where my heart was beating so fast I could have went into cardiac arrest. There was times when I knew that something was about to happen, and I just laid in my bed and I just said, if I die, I die. And that's such a fucking dark place to be, because my life matters, your life matters, and like, this addiction can take us so far down the hole. It's like, damn, we're really down that bad that we're willing to just accept our fate. And a lot of shame and guilt come into play. But for me, I started studying guys like Gabor Maté, and I started having compassion for myself, and I started being vulnerable, and that led me to opening up to my family members and my uncle, and they got me out to treatment in Portland, Oregon. I was living in Seattle, Washington area, and my life's changed over the last year. And that's just how this shit took me to the depths. I mean, I remember times just being blacked out, coked out, drunk, and walking home miles from the bar. My fucking pants are falling off. I'm snorting lines as I'm walking, chain smoking through the city that I grew up in, and thinking to myself, man, how did I get down this far? I used to be a all-star college recruited athlete. I have a YouTube with over 50 million views. I had a top 20 song in Brazil. Like, people in my community used to look up to me. Now look at me, I'm a fucking drug dealer, a fucking junkie. And God, that shit was so hard for me to not want to take my life back then. But I never would. I'm a fucking fighter, I'm a warrior, and so are you. And that's just the same spirit that got me to where I'm at. And you know, there's so many nights I should have been gone. And that's just really what I wanted to talk about with you guys, is that whatever your drug is, it's gonna eventually break you, and it can take you. And it's taken so many people from me, friends and family, and I fucking refuse for it to take me. I'm not, and I refuse for it to fucking take you. So please take action and figure this out. Ask for help, be vulnerable. It doesn't have to end that way. Now my life, you know what my life looks like now? It's built off discipline and hard work and vulnerability and service and helping other people. And I'm here to tell you that a year ago I didn't want to be here anymore on this earth. And now I wake up every day. I'm excited, I'm passionate. I make these videos, I'm making music again. I work as a youth care specialist, working with kids with mental health disorders, and kids basically who are in the beginning stages of developing addictions as they get older, just like I was. And I have an opportunity to help change them, and I have an opportunity to help change you. Because of the blessings of God and my family, I was able to go to treatment. My treatment combined was like $100,000, and most of it was, I got scholarship, and my uncle helped pay for it. I prayed so many nights last year, you guys, when I totaled my car and I was doped up and fucked up. Prayed that I could just get an opportunity to go somewhere and get the help that I needed, because I know that I needed help. And when I went to treatment, a lot of the motherfuckers told me, they're like, damn, bro, you got a lot of fucking trauma. And I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, all these different things. And so I had compassion for myself. I'm like, look, bro, You were using those drugs, you were drinking for a reason, but it's your responsibility to fix those things. So I just want to impart this message to you guys, that it's not too late, and it's never too late. Shout out to 3 Days Grace. Um, it's not over for you. So if you comment, reach out to me, reach out to people in the community. There's always somebody there to help you. Recovery, I've met some of the most honest, realist fucking people out there that are selfless, that will do anything to help you. You just gotta open your arms.